Hey guys, it's Sarah, and today we're going to talk about all the books that I read in the month of June. I ended up with 9, which is a good number. Halfway through the month, though, when I was thinking about can I do a mid-month wrap-up, I had only had 3. So to me, it didn't seem like that was worth it. And so I saved it for the end, and then I ended up with 9, which is kind of a lot to talk about. But there's 2 books that I'm not going to give you my star rating or synopsis on quite yet because they are 5-star predictions. So now we're down to 7, and then 2 of them are graphic novels, which are really easy for me to talk about, but I can't give you too much detail because they're continuations. So we can get through this quickish. The first book that I read in June was One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. I actually listened to this on audio, and I listened to it through Libro FM, which is an audiobook service that I have really, really been loving lately. And the thing I love about them the most is that part of their proceeds go to independent bookstores, and you can pick which one. So I love that. So I'm going to leave their information down below. If you guys are interested in Libro FM, you can get a discount on your first month if you use my link to sign up for it. So I would definitely check that out if you like listening to audiobooks. It's very comparable to Audible, but part of their proceeds go to independent bookstores, which to me is like so much more worth it. This one came out in beginning of June, and I was able to listen, I started listening to it the first day it came out. So that was nice. Okay, so this is a romance between a girl named August and a girl named Jane. They meet on the subway in New York City. This is shortly after August moves to the city. She is living with some roommates. She gets on the subway to head to school, I believe, and she meets Jane there. And there's something different about Jane. She is always there on the route that August takes. She is usually wearing the same clothes. And August starts to think there's something different about her, just the way that she is talking, some of the social things she doesn't quite understand, and August is wondering what is going on with her. Come to find out, Jane is stuck on this subway and literally can't get off, and she's from a different decade, and she can't get off the train. So it has a little bit of a science fiction-y little twist in there as well, which was pretty unique. Okay, so my thoughts on this. And this follows like them forming a relationship and falling in love. Okay. Overall, I really enjoyed this book. I really enjoyed the story. I thought it was really interesting. The things that caused me to give it a 4-star instead of a 5 is that some of the science explanation parts of it went over my head a little bit, and I wasn't fully understanding the whole reason that she was on the train and how they're going to get her off this train. And, because it goes into some science stuff, and it kind of went over my head a little bit. There was also a random storyline that follows August's brother, which I didn't feel like was necessary and might have been thrown in there to kind of chunk up the book a little bit. And it just didn't make a whole lot of sense for the storyline. It kind of took me out of the main plot line, honestly. So that part I didn't really enjoy. It almost felt like it was there for a convenience, and okay, that's fine. So those I didn't enjoy. But I really loved the characters. That this is a very diverse book as far as a whole bunch of different sexualities in here. And so that was really interesting. That follows her roommates and everything. And yeah, it was really good though. I really enjoyed Casey McQuiston's writing, so I definitely want to read more from them. And I have Red, White, and Royal Blue, which was sent to me as a gift, so I definitely want to be getting to that. And I will be looking out for more of their books in the future when they write some more. So, but I gave it 4 stars. And the audiobook narrator for this book was Natalie Naudis, and she was great. The next one I read with Krista and Amanda and Lindsay, and we read Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. And so this is the first book in the Grisha verse trilogy, and I really enjoyed this. I really had a fun time reading this book. I loved the Darkling. I love him as a character. Definitely loving to hate him. Don't get me wrong, but man, he's a good character. And the way that this one ended was just, ooh. So this follows our main character, Alina, who is working. She kind of had a hard life growing up. She was orphaned. She is taken into this orphanage home type of place where she meets her best friend Mal, and together they kind of they're always there for each other, basically. And she grows up to work as a map maker, and Mal is a tracker. So he is like, tracking things and trying to hunt things down. He's really, really good at it. She's making maps. She doesn't care about maps, but it was something for her to do and to make a living. And one day, a group of Grisha come, and Grisha are people who can practice magic. They have magical abilities and magic powers. They are treated like royalty, basically. They come into the area where Mal and Alina are, and they are wanting to travel into this area called the Fold, which is an area that was created a long time ago. It's a very dark and scary place. There are creatures that live there that will literally try to kill you. And so not a lot of people go in there and make it out. But they are needing to go across this area to get to another part of the land. And so Mal and Alina are on a vessel to go across the Fold, ready to fight if they need to. They do get attacked in this area, and Alina, in her desperation to protect the people around her, finds out that she has powers that she never knew that she had. This discovery is huge in this world, and a lot of people are trying to basically take advantage of her and her powers and her abilities and everything. So you see that happen. You see her learn how to use her powers and what can be done with them. And she kind of finds herself not really knowing who to trust, which is, definitely understandable. But I absolutely loved this. I had such a great time reading it. It was a quick read, I will say, and just fun. Like, it was just a fun time. I did give it 4 stars. It wasn't a full 5. It didn't blow my mind completely, but it was a lot of fun. And I'm currently reading the second book with my friends as well. So the next book that I read is one of my 2021 TBR books. So I read it. And then it was also the book that was picked for the second BookTube spin. If you haven't heard of the BookTube spin, I'm going to leave a video down below that kind of explains it. Rick McDowell does it, and every couple of months he spins a wheel and you pick a stack of books and assign them numbers, and then whatever number comes up, you read that one until the next spin. So all that. I'll leave his first announcement video down below if you guys want to check it out. But I did read American Royals by Catherine McGee. And this one was so much fun. Oh my gosh, I adored it. It was actually a big surprise how much I enjoyed this book. So this follows the United States, but instead of having a democracy and a voting system, we have a royal family. We have a hierarchy. We have, like, the people who are sitting on the throne right now are descendants of George Washington. So he was a king instead of a president. And oh my gosh, it was so much fun. So you follow this family who is in power in the United States, and it follows the children of the king and queen. And you're following Beatrice, who is next in line for the throne. She's the oldest. There's never been a queen of the United States. There's only been kings. So she's dealing with that kind of pressure. She's also dealing with pressure to get married because everyone's telling her she needs to have a man by her side. You're also following her younger siblings, who are twins, Jefferson and Samantha, and all the antics that they get into. Especially Samantha. So it was just full of drama. It was so fun. I just really enjoyed it. I listened to this on audio as well. Brittany Presley is the narrator, and she was fantastic. And I mean, I was like listening to this while I was running errands, and my mouth was hanging open, and I was like, no, she didn't. Like, in the middle of Walmart, like, there was just drama happening. So if you want just like a super fun, drama-filled, so ridiculous, but it's so much fun book, definitely recommend this if you haven't read it yet. So yeah, I mean, I gave it 4 stars. Again, it wasn't mind-blowing, but it was so much fun. And the next book that I finished was Hustle by Jenny Bunting. This is an adult romance book, and it follows a girl named Taylor who owns a yoga and cycling studio. She's very ambitious, very career driven. She has worked her way up from nothing, basically, to be a successful businesswoman, and she takes a lot of pride in that. And then right next door opens up a gym led by Malcolm, and basically gives her direct competition because it's two gyms right next to each other. They both take on clients and they're both trying to promote themselves and do all that stuff. So direct competition. And she has a big issue with that, obviously. Malcolm is also extremely handsome. Extremely handsome. They have a lot in common. No matter how much they want to deny that, there's definitely chemistry there, no matter how much they both want to deny it, because this is like, I don't want to say it's enemies to lovers, but it's like competition to lovers, I would say, because they definitely have feelings for each other. They're definitely attracted to each other, but they deny that because they claim that the other person drives them nuts and, you know, they're so frustrating and all that stuff. So lots of tension in this one, I would say. But then you see them start to stop denying their feelings. So it was a lot of fun, pretty steamy, really enjoyed that because that's kind of what I was craving right now. And this one definitely delivered on that. And I did like it. I will say that the character, like Taylor and Malcolm, sometimes drove me nuts because, especially Taylor, she was a little too headstrong at times. And I'm like, would you just get over yourself and just like give the man a chance? You know what I mean? He would also stick his foot in his mouth a whole bunch. So there is that, you know, he would say things and I'm like, oh, that's not what you meant though. But why did you say it like that? So there was some of that in here, but overall, I really enjoyed it and gave this one 4 stars. Okay, the next one that I finished, we're going to go back to Catherine McGee because I did listen to Majesty. I got a little tip that if I was reading American Royals, I should have Majesty up on deck if I can because you're going to want to go on to the next one. And they were absolutely right. And I did. So I found Majesty through my library system on audio, again, same narrator. And I listened to that one. And again, so much fun. I really enjoyed seeing where the characters went after the first book. And I found myself like, it just went in directions I wasn't expecting, which I really liked because you're reading the first book and you're thinking these characters are going to go here and this is what's going to happen and blah, blah, blah. And then the second book is like, oh, wait, but do I want them to go this way or do I want them to go? I don't know where I want these people to go. And so you're just kind of along for the ride. So it surprised me that way, which I really, really enjoyed. And I absolutely adored it. I really did. Like this book duology, as of right now, there's only 2, and I don't know that there's plans to have a 3rd book, but I really enjoyed it. So much fun. I'm considering buying the 2nd book and having them on my shelves. I haven't made the plunge yet, but I'm thinking about doing that. So it was so much fun. Like, high recommend. I could even see myself reading these one day if I just want like something fun. It would be a great vacation read. Definitely. If you want to take a couple books with you, like grab these 2. So another 4 stars on that one. Next 2 books that I finished were both graphic novels, and I read Sagas Volume 3 and 4. I read both of those, and I don't want to say too much about them because they are continuations in the series, but again, I really, really enjoyed them. These are not 5-star reads for me. They're every single one I think has been a 4-star, but like solid 4. And I think it's just because graphic novels are not my preferred medium for reading. Like these are the only ones I've really read and enjoyed. Besides To Kill a Mockingbird, I did read the To Kill a Mockingbird graphic novel, and I really loved that. But other than that, it's just not my preferred reading experience, but I have really enjoyed this story. I enjoy the characters. There's a little bit of cheesy dialogue every so often. I'm just kind of like, okay. But the story is really interesting, and I like the place it's going right now. There were some surprises in these, especially in Volume 4 at the end. So I'm excited to continue. I'll probably continue when we get to Virginia. I'll see if my local library there will have it, because the first thing I'm going to do is go to my library and get a library card. And ask if they're hiring. So I will definitely continue the series and read the rest of them. There's 9 volumes out right now from what I'm understanding. So yeah, but 4 stars for both of those. The next one that I read was actually one of my most anticipated releases for the year, and that is You Have a Match by Emma Lord. I listened to this one on audio as well. This one is narrated by Eva Kaminsky, and she did a great job narrating this one. I did enjoy the narration of it. So this one is a young adult book, and it follows our main characters, Abby and Leo, mainly Abby. It's told from her point of view. And she has been best friends with Leo since she can remember. They have been best friends. They have kind of a little core group of 3 people. And she decides to support him in a decision he's made to take a DNA test to see if he has anybody, any other family, because he is adopted. So he's trying to, see if he can reach out to his birth family. So she decides to do this with him just in an act of support, and come to find out, she has a long lost sister that she never knew about, a full blood sister who lives in the next town over from her. And upon this realization, she and her sister decide to meet, and her sister convinces her to come to a summer camp with her that she's working at so they can get to know each other better. All the while, their parents do not know what's happening. So her sister was given up for adoption, so she has adopted parents. She knows that she's adopted. And they go to the summer camp. They start to get to know each other better. Their parents don't know about it. All that stuff. All the while, Leo is also at this camp, and she has feelings for Leo that she tried to express at one point, but was embarrassed about it. And so that's kind of been like a little bit of a cloud hanging over her, dealing with those feelings and trying to keep them inside because she doesn't want to embarrass herself or him. Okay. I will say I had high hopes for this one because I loved her first book, Tweet Cute. Loved it so much. This one, not quite so much. It was fine, I will say. I enjoyed listening to it. It was a quick listen. I listened to it really quickly. But it did leave me a little, like, I don't know. I just wanted more out of it, I guess. I did like her getting to know her sister. So I thought that was interesting. But the romance part of it drove me a little bit nuts because it was a thing where you could tell that they both had feelings for each other. You could tell that, even though we don't get Leo's perspective, the things that he was saying and doing is a little obvious that he has feelings for her as well. He makes a statement at one point about this embarrassing incident that she continues to refer to throughout the book, where maybe it wasn't her making the initial move. Maybe it was him, and they just didn't get that or something. So it was a little bit of a miscommunication trope, which I don't love if it's not understandable. This one was not really understandable for me because I feel like if they had just had one conversation, which they were trying to have throughout the whole book and things, it was just like, no, you go first. And then whatever he says completely negates what she's going to say. And then she's like, well, I can't say this now. And I'm like, oh my gosh, would you just say it? Would you just tell him that you love him already because he loves you too? Oh my gosh, just say it. That was me throughout the whole book. And it was like, let's have a conversation. I'm like, yeah, let's have a non-conversation because that's what's going to happen. And that's what happened. That drove me nuts. I don't like that type of miscommunication. I'm like, would you just say the words already? Come on. So that drove me nuts. And yeah, I don't know. It was just fine for me. I finished the book and I was like, yeah, that was all right. So I gave it 3 stars. Very middle of the road. And then the last 2 books that I read, I'm not going to go into details about these because they are 5-star predictions, but I did finish them up. So A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik and Final Girls by Riley Sager. So, yeah, let me tell you though, this one, oh, yes. This one, mouth hanging on the floor. So I will go into more details about this very soon in our wrap up for our 5-star predictions, but I did get these 2 knocked out as well. Okay, and that's it. So I had a few audiobooks, a couple graphic novels, and then, it turned out to be better than I thought it was going to be because halfway through the month I was feeling a little slumpy. I actually went a few days without reading anything. I just wasn't in the mood to read for a few days there, which is not usually normal, but sometimes it happens and I just got to listen. I got to listen to that instinct. So, but overall pretty good. Mostly 4 stars, 1 3-star, and then and then another one that I won't say because 5-star predictions. I don't want to say what those 2 were, but yeah. Okay, that is it for me today. Let me know if you guys have read any of these books, what your thoughts were, if you have, and I will see you guys again soon. Hope you have a great day.